don't need that. Let's go into here. All right. So we are actually live for the first time ever in this year. And it is going to be a get used to Aaron King being back kind of situation where we're going to have a few people with us. And we're going to start here in 9 minutes. And so we'll see who shows up within then. Just test my chat again. Let's go ahead. Live in 8 minutes. All right, cool. That's updating. Perfect. All right. So it is me and no one right now, but soon to have someone, as I know at least Kathy is going to hang out and watch. Ads are automated. Okay, cool. Public, perfect. Everything is golden. And Justin Cathcart is here. Hey, JC. Playing golf, but great to see you again. All right, Justin. You're busy with golf. Focus on that, but it's awesome that you came in to say hi. Definitely have missed it. And OMG, it's Aaron. Hey, Chris Whiting. Hey, man. Hey, buddy. So the Chris's maybe will be back. Oh, let's just be honest. Everything is not okay. Oh, it is rough, but I'm finally able to make this, at least presentable enough to get started. I spent probably the last 2 hours tweaking these LED lights and perfecting them, and I was running out of time. I got zip ties sitting right there waiting for me to finish this project, and I haven't finished it, but I wanted to go live in time, so here I am early just so that people know for sure that it's happening at 7. Hey, Bob Burkowski's here, and Rhonda. I am alive. I did not die on the way out of Lofoten, even though it feels like I did. For those of you who want to hang around, I might tell a couple stories at the end of this. And those of you watching this live, if you hang out or fast forward to the end, I'll say too much information, embarrassing stories at the end. So Kave's here too. Hey Kave, welcome in, my friend. I'm stoked to be on the stream again, having the lights flashing in my eyes, blaring at me, celebrating the Cougs who are in the Sweet 16 for the first time in 14 years. 2011, Jimmer Fredette. He got us to the Sweet 16, and that was awesome. But now I think we're actually going to get to the Sweet 16, and I think we're going to win. So take that. So I am setting up a few things in the background, but for those of you who are here already, just know zip ties and duct tape, work complete. Yep. Here's my zip ties, and I have some white tape that I moved from there out of the way over there just because I can't zip tie any lights on that. I have to use tape. But I wasn't liking it reflecting off of the TV on the top row, and I wasn't liking it just only down there, so I haven't figured it out. This side is pretty much done. I just don't think I have enough light for showing things off in that corner. Plus, I was watching it and looking at this crane for the mic. I mean, anything I put there is just going to be extra in texture. I almost feel like it's nicer to keep it clean, but then it's just my camera bag and Sean's image from the, I forgot the Nebula Sean, sorry, but Sean's image that he gave me, and then I have a few items up here, but as I place 3 things on it, based from the camera's perspective, you really can't tell what they are, and anything else on that is just going to be textures in the background, but I'll go for it because it's pretty empty up there. So I'll put the rest of the things, the Nisi filters that they gave me when I live streamed hosted for Nisi for about 4 weeks, and we did 2 presentations, and they had 0 people show up to both of them, and their whole plan was to actually have people fighting for free gear and challenging themselves to be the first ones to write this or to ask this question, and I had no one there. I told them, I said, I will host it and I can't wait, but I'm not going to tell my audience. I'm not going to tell my audience to come and be your only audience. You bring the audience. I'll give you the content and I'll focus on the interview, because they'd give me someone as a guest. I interviewed them and we talk about their skills, and it was all lots of cool stuff. But they couldn't bring an audience, and I wasn't going to do that part for them. I told them, it's like, I have to focus on my stuff, but I will show up and do the live stream hosting for you. And when they couldn't bring in an audience, and I was basically pretending to have a contest and giving out, what was I doing? I was basically acting enthusiastic despite the fact that no one was there, so that when people watched it in a replay, it wasn't bad to watch, but it was very distracting to have it be sucky. And I gotta say hi to Teresa. Hey Teresa, welcome in. So real quick, you guys, how's the audio? I couldn't double check the mic on how the volume is, but it looks solid. Is it a little low? Should I bring it up a little bit? I can bring it up a lot, but how's it sound? My mouth is gonna go like this, looking up, looking down. Solid audio so far. We got 4 minutes before we're going live. You give me the word on that audio. Hey, Kathy, you are here. And it isn't just you and me, Kathy. Thank goodness it's not just you and I. I was thinking that we'd have at least these regular faces around, and you awesome people have not disappointed. Even Justin Cathcart was playing golf, and he saw, I guess, on his phone a notification, or he got the email yesterday, and he's like, ooh, I'm going to be there. So he showed up on time to say hi, even though he's focusing on not getting a bogey. I hope you're not getting a bogey, Justin. A little low on Teresa's opinion. And you know, second that. Audio is perfect from Kave. Okay, I got dissenting opinions, so Teresa might have to turn her volume up. Let me know if I should just go for it on my end. If we have another person to break the tie. I'm sure a few of you are about to answer. Hey, it's Jerry Thompson. Hey, how's it going? I moved to Saratoga Springs, Jerry. So how close does that put me to you? Even further, right? Because you're in Salt Lake Valley. But hey, again. You guys are fun to be on here. I'm glad to be back. Good audio from Chris. Okay, looks like Teresa, you just might have to bring it up, because I think if anything, I'm going to be louder. I don't know, not really. I have roommates now, and my roommate has his girlfriend over. My other roommate's at work, and so I can't really make a ton of noise. I don't want to be obnoxious to them for the next hour, but I'm sure it is. Oh, your volume's at 100 and it's a little low? That seems okay to bring up a little bit then. I don't want that to be something impossible to fix. The rest of you who say the audio is good, you're with me on that, but I think we're just going to have to do a slight change on the gain. So I was at 10. I'm going to go up here to, let's go 13. All right, 13 gain now, and bring up my audio here on this end. All right, so how's that feeling? Is that just too loud? Oh, you're in South Jordan, so I'm a little closer to you now. Sweet. Good evening, Tim Bradley. Welcome in. All right, I was starting to say that those of you who are on here, the way I like to celebrate it when I finally come back to live stream is not just only talk about me. I'm going to tell some stories at the end because I have some news that I want to share with everybody. And, well, Chris is here. Hey, Chris. Chris is going to hang out with me on a 5-day no hiking, no driving adventure. It's still available. One of you can join. She's going to be there with me and Keith, as well as Frank. So that's 3 of the 4. Frank is the apprentice this year, so he's adding to the 3. So I have 1 more spot, and Teresa says better. Yes, awesome. Okay, cool. Sweet. So what I was trying to say is that if you have your Instagram handle, just chat it up here. I'm going to be searching Instagram pictures and celebrating what you have done to catch up with you. I'm not just catching up with you telling you about me. I want to see and focus on some of your imagery tonight that you have done. I pulled in some of my old classic friends of Photog Adventures. Not all of you, because everyone who's chatted so far are classic old friends, except Chris is brand new, last year or so. But I've only pulled in a few images so far, and I want to get the rest of yours. I'm now a part Utah, or is it Utah or Utah? I'm not sure how you change the pronunciation in both of those, but the way we spell it is with the H and the N at the end, like you did there in the third option, a Utah. Now, I have lived in Utah for a lot of my life, but I say mountain sometimes, but I say mountain often. I say soda, not pop. I don't say Karner or Warsh like some of the older folk, but most people here don't say Warsh or Karner anyway. I'm now part Utah, so that means you're living in Utah, Chris, or you just gained some new genetics from Utah that was transferred into you. Did you have an organ transplant from a Utah person? What was it that made you part Utah? Looking forward to it, Chris says, for our weekend. And Western Mass is represented by John. Whoo, yeah. Now, I'm in the Bahamas enjoying my life, guy. Where are you at, man? Where are you at? House in Kanab. Ooh, really? Not a bad place to store your Jeep and get ready. Stephen Garamont. Hey, man. Good to see you. Yeah, I know. I'm finally back online. I hope everything's going well with you. I know that some bad news came and you're not able to make it quite for the adventure that we had planned, but we'll make it up to you. We'll make it up. There'll be a way to make sure that you get something out of this. Any messages that I haven't missed? Oh, my timer has expired. I guess it's time to just start the show. So like I said, hook me up. Teresa's Rice is already on it with your Instagram handle. All right, let's shut up and get started. And it's Milky Way Wednesday. We are finally back. Oh, I missed the wrong button. The cool thing is right below me, we have a new thing that I'm going to be using to hit buttons, but I'm realizing now in my live stream, reaching them with my short little, wimpy arms, I can't reach those buttons very easily. Uh-oh, I hit one. Hopefully nothing happened. So, hey, welcome in. I'm Aaron King with Photog Adventures, and I have basically died, and for the last 8 months, I've been gone. The long story short right now, and then the long story later, if you want to hang out to the very end, is that I had to move from my apartment. My landlord was ready to raise the rent prices, and they're like, no, we're not going to grandfather you in since we have a contract that says we can't raise your rent too much. And they want to go much higher, so they just said to me and several others in the complex, get out of here, you're done. We're going to go forward with a new rent, and they just didn't renew our contract. So in August, I kept looking for a place, couldn't find it. I was couch surfing. I went live twice during that whole time, and it was not great, and you didn't have really good background. You couldn't even see me. I didn't have my camera. So that was pointless to do, and so ever since then, I've been looking for an apartment. I got this place in January, and then the background, my bed is up there. I don't have a Murphy bed. It hasn't gone like this because it's a cool Murphy bed. I have a trashy $100 bed from Walmart that I move out of my way because in order to use this space for a room and an office, the bed has to be mobile. So my bed is up there, out of the way. And before now, I didn't quite have this space figured out, but I decided to add this shelving, which gives it some look like the old studio. I got the LED lights that I had before, and then I'm kind of running my Apple TV with the screensaver showing off, right now. There's where Colin is. Hey, Colin, to you tomorrow watching the replay. And so that is sweet to have. It's okay, but I don't like seeing my door. I don't know what to do over in that space to make it more interesting. You've got the dangling BYU neck chain that holds off of my keys. What do they call those? They call those something. Lanyard. The lanyard's hanging off the hook. My hat's sitting up there, and here I am. So it's not the same. But I think it just came down to it's already March. I got to take care of something before we get going here in this year, and I'm excited to get back and get started. And so like I was telling those of you who were hanging out before we even went live, instead of just being this all about me and going straight into a lesson that many of you have heard many times, I'm going to do a celebration of you and find out what's going on with you. So those of you who are here in the chat, this chat, hook me up with your Instagram handle, and let's check out and see what photos you have done lately. I'm going to focus on the Milky Way ones, but here and there I might pull up something that is not just Milky Way. In fact, I am going to make edits as we go, so you'll have to bear with me as I'm grabbing people's pictures live and then throwing them up on the screen, making sure that I have them so that I can do my classic moment of envy with them. And so let's get started, and we're going to start with the guy who Kathy and I know very, very well. In fact, it was back in the days of April of 2017. That was the time we met, but for weeks or months before, Kathy had asked me, hey, so I know you're in Utah. I have a question for you. Is there anything of interest in Utah that I can photograph? Hey, John Deals here. Better late than never. So good to see your face. Dude, it was almost never. Like, this situation was really frustrating. Like, the trash, the boxes, the moving in, where it was like I couldn't get up out of the bed before I moved something out of the way so I could access the door. Oh, that's discouraging. Okay, don't think about it. So, hey, so Kathy said, I never put stuff on Instagram, I don't think. Oh, you never have. Well, if you're not up to date on your Instagram, then it won't be as fun to see what you've been doing the last year. But hopefully you have something, and many of you have given me something to go through. So I'm in good shape. So this is Jeff Peterson. He was a guy who hung out with me at the very beginning of Photog Adventures. Brendan and I went out with him. He showed me Sunset Arch for the first time. He was there the first time we saw Devil's Garden. And he showed me where Dance in the Hall Rock was. And so he's helped me a ton. He's been that like generous, awesome photographer who takes under his wing these newbies who are learning and fun to hang around with, I guess. And so when Kathy asked if there's any fun in Utah to photograph, I was like, oh, yes, there is, most certainly. And we had some fun with going into... what was it? It was Natural Bridges National Monument to Owachomo Bridge, and Kathy got her shot there. And till last year, you told me, Kathy, that was still your favorite image of all time of the Milky Way. I'll never live that down, will I? She says. Oh, you're not seeing the small chat. Let me pull this up and see if you can see Kathy being like, oh, no, I'm never going to lose the reputation of the person who asked if there's anything to photograph in Utah. You know, Kathy, there's nothing that I feel like you should have any shame for that comment, but for some reason, I guess being a friend, I must still tease you about it. I have to remind you about it all the time. Now, is this a different live chat? Nah, this is the live chat, but I want to pull it down here into the gray, and then I think, come on, I think this has some room to give. Oh, it doesn't. How about I move this up? And then does it have room to give on the bottom? Oh, it doesn't. I'm going to make some changes to that so that we can have an even bigger chat. But for right now, I think it'll be safe to be like this, overlapping this corner. Only this one has that weird shape in there. I had to cut a hole in the picture just so that I could get out of this. So it's not something that'll make sense to you on your end, but here we go. So yeah, Kathy, we are not going to let you forget that. Hey, Jeff, I want to steal your Red Cliffs photography now that I have a house on Red Cliffs Drive. Your house is in Red Cliffs Drive. That's a cool place to say, you know, photographer, here's my, like, I just bought a piece of art from a photographer, and his shipping address has Red Cliffs Drive on it. You know that you can trust that guy. That's cool, Chris. You're going to have some awesome photography out there. But let's celebrate this one. And we celebrate this because the aurora is still going. Now, this isn't from the last few months. This was in 2023, I believe. Maybe this one wasn't, but another photo I grabbed of his was going to be. But this is not this year, but last, at least. And it is a gorgeous example of hanging out in a place that has a good open view with the water making the most of it. It's really hard to get something brilliant on an aurora shot when you want to have a big open canvas so you don't block anything of the aurora, but it's always better to have something that's peeking up into the horizon and making more interest. And it's Eric Bowden. Hey, welcome in, brother. So here we are looking at Jeff's and just celebrating the fact that aurora is so active now. I haven't double checked recently. I know that they were saying that the solar maximum that was happening was going to end at the end of 2024 or 2025. So I haven't double checked. Maybe someone in the chat has. Oh, you're still an aurora beginner, huh? Awesome, Chris. Well, you're going to have some chances still here. Even if the solar maximum is off of its peak and coming back, there's going to be a lot of activity. In fact, for those of you who are also like Chris and new to aurora, then the one thing that you need to know, and let's go ahead and make this smaller and fit it out to the chat. Let's go to there. That works for me. Okay, and I am going to show you spaceweather.com. Spaceweather.com right there. This is all that you really need to know. You just check it out and see how it's going. This is what happened yesterday. I mean, these pictures typically are what happened in the last day, maybe two. And so it's saying there's geomagnetic storms underway. They're underway since March 26th as Earth enters a stream of fast-moving solar wind. The prediction for tonight's KP is an unsettled nearly 5, maybe a 6.3. And it's going hot right here over in the dark portion. So if you're already in the dark out there on the East Coast, your Upper Peninsula, there's a lot that you can still see and activities going on. So being an aurora beginner or virgin, as he said it, this is going to be the time to take it on and have fewer moments of being skunked. From years ago, you would get aurora notifications like this could be something. We had a hole, a coronal hole on here that caused a mark. I'm forgetting the term right now, a sunspot. And that sunspot ejected some coronal mass. And if that is going to hit us at the right timing and the right way, then we get aurora, and you're trying to hope for something to happen. Nowadays, it's happening more often than not. I mean, look at this insanity of being right underneath it and what it looks like. Now, Rhonda, wait, I'm putting Rhonda in Lofoten. She was in New Zealand, so it wasn't Rhonda. But we were out in Lofoten, and we were underneath it, and it was crazy, where it wasn't even all that high of a KP. It was probably a 3, but that put it anywhere in the sky above us. And it was fantastic. And of course, you know how it goes as a photography host or an instructor. You tell them to be ready. You tell them what to do. You're excited to get there on location, and they still take time. Here's my bag. Oh, where's this? Oh, here's my gloves. Oh, where's this? Oh, let's find this little doohickey that is my third-party dongle that hits the shutter for me. It's like, get out of the car. Go, go, go. There it is. It's right there. And it might not be there in 5 minutes. Go, 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 go. And no, they're not ready. I'm going to grab my tripod. I'm going to straighten that ball head. It's like, stop. Take it now. Take it now. And it's a lot more stressful to do aurora than it is to do Milky Way, because the Milky Way, as long as the clouds aren't blocking it, you got that giant window of all night, depending on the time of the year. Right now, we have to wait all the way until 2, 3 in the morning, and then we wait for that to happen. Then we have that small window until morning when the daylight starts to come back. But aurora, when you're in Lofoten and you see a big old blast above head, and you're thinking, if I take a picture right now, it's filling up my sky, and the composition balance between it and a foreground, it's perfect. But Rhonda and I did experience a situation in New Zealand with aurora that was a different challenge, where we didn't know it. My first time out there, I didn't know the safety measures we should take around these seals, because there's a lot of warnings about these seals. You don't want to interrupt them, especially if they're all protecting pups. And so here we are at this one spot that could potentially be great. And I might as well just show you this, since I'm getting all sorts of distracted. This is New Zealand. You can still hear me. Yeah, you can still hear me. And you can see how I'm just doing a time lapse up close of the rotating the large and small Magellanic Cloud. Now, this is from the area that I was just talking about, Shag Point, where there are seals that are off at the end of the Shag Point. And I found something that reminded me of a Mary Beth Kaczynski capture, where she had a beautiful reflection in this puddle on the coastline that took on the color of the aurora, and the aurora up in the sky was brilliant. Well, if I could have gotten something like that, where I went out to that very end of this peninsula point and gone out to the spot where it would then show off the color of the sky reflecting in the splashed water puddles that were created at the end of this, it would have been terrific. Clouds were out there, as you can see. It wasn't perfect. We could have waited for those clouds to go away, but you can see the time lapse. That didn't matter. It's like those clouds just basically stayed along that same shelf and then formed and reformed on top of themselves. So it was very obnoxious. But you can see how the color would have been pretty awesome to see that in the water reflecting, but I couldn't get everyone to that same spot. I only had room for really one person down there, and that would have been me. And this was a Trailblazer adventure, and Trailblazer adventures mean that I'll keep this running while you see me. Let me turn myself back on. So in a Trailblazer adventure, I haven't been there before either, so the price is much cheaper, and I'm still doing all the workshop leader stuff outside of my normal. My normal is I don't take pictures with you. I'm just helping you take pictures. As a Trailblazer adventure, I'm trying to take pictures too, which means I can get focused on my own dang stuff while you're doing something and need some help. And so that can be really obnoxious that I'm not there. So that's why the real adventures cost more, and the Trailblazer adventures were more inexpensive, more affordable. So it's like, Here, I was worried about keeping everyone safe still. I could just go out there on my own. I wasn't going to do that. And we were all in the same vehicle, so it's like we've all got to survive this together. And so it was just what we could. Kaveh was there, and Rhonda, by the way. Kaveh, wasn't mentioning you yet, but Kaveh, Kathy, and Rhonda were all there. The only one who was there that isn't right here right now, maybe he is in the background, was Ron Steinke. So that was the whole group. So I hadn't even mentioned that Kathy and Kaveh were there as well. But we're enjoying this view, and I'm just taking a nap. I'm like, I know I'm going to be out for a long night, so I'm just asleep right now while I run my time lapse. If only I could have gotten out there to that point. And so as we talk about the beginners, the virgins to aurora photography, like Chris was saying, the best thing you can do is get yourself going with a foreground that is really quite terrific. Oh, wrong camera, but I got my nose itch in just in time for that nice zoomed in picture of me. I wanted this camera, but then my nose itch would have been smaller. So, good evening here. Mark Moore is back. Hey, Mark. And Ron. Hey, Ron Steinke's here. The whole group from New Zealand was here. I'm not even talking about New Zealand tonight, or at least wasn't planning on talking about New Zealand tonight. So, welcome back, Ron. I almost pulled up one of your Instagram photos, honestly, and I was like, oh, I should grab that, but I shouldn't grab everyone's. I should let people give me their Instagram. So, let's get rolling with what I wanted to say. Looking at this, you can see that he's got the great sky. He's absolutely got the great sky, and he's got it in a great location. This is Yellowstone. The casualty is that this is Yellowstone, and you don't know it. If I go back over into his Instagram, which I think I can go there by doing this, Red Cliffs Photography, you can see how this image, this is the other one I wanted to use a Jess but didn't pull up. This image is definitely promising. In fact, let me just put it on over his current one. So, adding it. Oh yeah, see how this is going to go take the full screen? I can't tap away from it and then have it go back to my pen. So now I'll just zoom in here and enjoy this. This is far more iconic and recognizable. Maybe not initially, but once you see the chat, you're like, oh yeah, of course. That is Old Faithful. So he's capturing the night sky over Old Faithful and doing a star trail. And doing a star trail time lapse, you can see that all of the particulates of his Old Faithful blast-offs are staying in frame. There's a chance that he created the time lapse of the Star Trail and then added one really good Old Faithful blast. The timing's in between. It's Old Faithful, so it's consistent. He could take all of his shots of the sky without the Old Faithful blasting off and then putting that layer on top. I'm not sure exactly how he pulled it off here. If you had done the entire time lapse with multiple blast-offs of Old Faithful, it could look like this in the end, but I would imagine it would have some other differences inside of this part. But this is iconic old, Yosemite. This is iconic Yellowstone. While when we have this other one on the side, you go in, you can see that this is only Yellowstone by virtue of him telling you. This is, I don't know where, it's Hayden Valley in Old Yellowstone. So if you want to make something really pop for an aurora shot, get off of this where I can just move. Perfect. Then get something that will really shine and be clearly, iconically recognizable. I wanted to find that fantastic image of the St. Louis Arch, and I think I didn't do it here. I did it off of my Google, which I could try and do in the background while we do this. I'll go over to my drive.google.com. Oh, I missed it, but here we go. So let's go into the next one that I want to celebrate, and that's Colin. Colin's out in the UK. He's going to watch this delayed, and you can see what's cool about Colin's picture. One, here's his Milky Way shot that I needed to celebrate, but more recently, there's an Orion shot. And this is big because right now it's the last opportunity that you're going to see Orion in our hemisphere of the night sky before the season becomes summer and Orion has set long before the night becomes. And you won't see it again until late August or beginning of August. Well, late in the night in August. So here's your chance to take advantage of Orion. I wanted to show this off because there's nothing extra special about this. Like, he doesn't have the astro-modified camera making the Barnard's loop red and all of the color pop, which is okay. you have an obvious yellow of Betelgeuse up here, and an obvious opposite of that being that blue. It's not technically an opposite color, so don't say it that way, Aaron. This star down below is a blue-white Rigel, and this is our nice yellow Betelgeuse, orange, yellow, red. But then you don't see Bellatrix. You don't see Bellatrix on here. It gets cut off. But it's really nice to see that he got the Orion constellation popping nicely. You don't see his arms with the bow, and you don't see Bellatrix, but you do get a clear silhouette of the feet around this Dustenborough castle. So this is the Orion over it, and so if you go for something that is Orion, and it's high, high, high in the sky, you better be getting a deep sky, working hard on making sure you get all the colors to pop. That's what's going to make that image pop, when you get it showing up really well. But if you just want to see Orion to show it off, and you're going to go for it without all the extra astro modifications, deep sky, capture, long exposure tracker with maybe even PixInsight going into the edit, then you're going to want to make sure that you get it with something interesting. So you got to either catch it early in the night, which as of now is impossible. So your only chance is late at night when Orion has tipped in the northern hemisphere, tipped and is facing down. So then here is what you can capture. This is what you can get. So think of those iconic locations that you're going to, what you can blend in with Orion, and your challenge after you leave from here is next time you're out with your camera, see what you can get with Orion. It'll be fun to get that awesome constellation, which for me, when the galactic core is gone, my new best friend is Orion. And that's what I play with all the time once my core is gone. All right, let's go into this album of photos. You know what? It's not that one. It's in here, in photos, because I made a gallery. Yes. Wait. Keep organizing. Turn it off. I don't care. It has face groups, but I actually don't have any faces on these photos. I just have albums that I've shared. So then what albums do I have? I have Aurora Fever. Here we go. So I was going to show this off, because I wanted to give you an example of taking advantage of Aurora with an iconic location without let's get this off to a different, like just simple gray right there. Perfect. And without losing quality sky. And the winner, when I was picking a favorite, was Tim Farmer's. I mean, it's just so good. Iconic location, instantly recognizable, plus Aurora. And the Aurora that night was so incredibly different that you forget it wasn't fake. Like, you would believe if someone said this is photoshopped. You're like, oh yeah, I could tell. Look at how the arc is standing out. It looks like it's been photoshopped in. Well, no, the St. Louis arch is not photoshopped in. It just looks that way with the light on it versus the way the sky is. And there's Andy. Hey again, Aaron, long time no see. Welcome back, if that is really you. Oh no, he's caught on. My doppelganger has taken over. If I could make AI take my face and take my voice and just go for it, that'd be great. And I just give it some assignments, and then when I'm gone on a workshop like next week and I can't do it live, I can take care of it. And so Steven says he's been focusing on deep space images since the Milky Way went on vacation. Yep, that's the right way to handle it. It's a great time too because we have a longer night. It's a bad time too because we have more clouds in the winter. So it's a real catch-22. Which is one thing that's nice about going in August to New Zealand is we had a very long night. We did have their winter coming out of their winter into spring, but we had very long hours. It was fantastic. If you have anything that you want me to see, and I missed it because it just zips by on me, do in all caps. I haven't reminded you about that, but if you do anything in all caps, I will see it in my chat window here. So help me out with that. All right, we'll leave that in the background for now. All right, and no photographers who followed me from the beginning, no grouping of images, sharing them from my own choices would be complete if I didn't share a Mary Beth Kaczynski, my one true love, Mary Beth Kaczynski, and her awesome photography. I mean, we can't help but just love and adore the way she edits things and her captures. And she isn't one of those that takes liberties unless she's changed. Mary Beth, have you changed? She isn't here to answer, but If she told me that she starts faking anything, oh, I'll be sad. Now, there's some color in the ground that she has either amplified that was there or tinted so that it would be matching the top sky at the top, which I think is okay. It's artistic liberty, I think. When you move the Milky Way from a position it wasn't, then it's not going to happen, and she's never going to do that. She never takes liberties with that. So this is a fantastic shot from Mary Beth Kaczynski, and it's not even featuring a Milky Way core. It is just featuring awesome astro with the horizon that is showing up well, with beautiful lines in the sand dune at the front. I mean, how do you not just love these? If I draw that even better, you can see how this goes right here and then comes right towards the middle, and then this is like a spreading of the wave. It's not a mirror image of the wave, but it just keeps going in these ripples out here. And it's just terrific texture that you wouldn't get if people had walked all over it. It'd be terrific texture that the wind has caused, and you're there at the right time, like Kathy and I when we had our terrific time out at the beautiful cave, which I almost just said the location, but I'm still keeping that, pretty quiet for Ryan Smith, who I promised I wouldn't say the name on here that much. I almost did it. I'm almost just giving up. Let's just give it away. But this is the shot that Kathy and I captured. And if it wasn't for Kathy turning on a headlamp at the right time, I wouldn't have gotten the sand the way that I did in this image. Like, this turned out so brilliantly. I ended up using it versus all my other options of the foreground because I just loved how, I think she was looking back at her bag with her headlamp on, and it was only white light because she knows that I love her if she doesn't turn her red light on. And that white light just bounced off the red-orange rock, the yellow-orange rock, and then bounced back at the sand in a nice, it's not natural, but a nice convenient way that matched up very well. And so without footprints there, it's pristine and awesome. It turned out really well, and that was a lot of fun, that hangout with Kathy. And so Mary Beth had the same kind of night, and then she did a great job of having this lead off the edge, go all the way to the far right or far left, and then come back towards the middle. And it is the Milky Way. This is the Milky Way band that goes down, but it's the lesser side, the less noticeable side. It was a good oops moment. Yes, exactly, Kathy. All right, so I got a bunch of Instagrams from everybody. Since I'm the only one here on these live streams, usually I have to just keep talking and then pull them up. I'm debating on just playing a video while I gather some real quick. I don't think that'll be too obnoxious. Let me try that instead of just making you hear me kind of mumble to myself and post some pictures on here. So this should give me at least 4 minutes of time. Let's try it. Before you even worry about clouds, you have to work around the moon. The number one tip is that don't go only at new moon. Check out how this month is going in June 2020. We have nearly the entire month. Everything yellow is a night that you could have at least a few minutes, if not hours, of opportunity to capture the Milky Way without the moon in the way. And this one is February of 2023. There are over 2 weeks, even in February, that you can capture the Milky Way. So stop thinking new moon means Milky Way. It's pretty much full moon, no Milky Way, and every other night is a possibility. So you have to think in terms of, will the moon be in my way at the beginning of the night, or will the moon be my way at the end of the night, towards the morning? And I want to tell you here 2 quick things to remember when you're thinking about after new moon and after full moon. After full moon, the moon rises later and later, which means here's the sun, it has set, and the moon comes up immediately. Then the next night the sun sets, and then the moon comes even later. And then the next night, even later. So after a full moon, every night gets better right away after sunset because it takes longer for the moon to rise. If it's after new moon, what you're thinking is, man, that moon is going to stay in the sky longer. Here's your sun and moon, and they're in the same side of the sky. Let's do it right here. As the sun is setting, the moon is right behind it, but it takes a little longer. During new moon, they're right with each other. After new moon, there's a separation of the sun and the moon just takes a little bit longer to set each night. So every night after the new moon, the moon takes longer and longer to set. Lastly, real quick, I want to point out this video, my moon woo opportunity, window of opportunity, and it shows you a trick, and there's a tip sheet that you can go and sign up for, so you can look at the moon really fast and know, oh yeah, booyah, I know exactly where the moon is going to be and how much it's going to take up my night. Thanks again for joining me on a 2-minute tip. I love you guys for hitting subscribe. I love you guys for hitting like. I really appreciate it. I have my kids right now. We have a little bit of delay on the last 2 videos, but I'll be coming back with my next video on location planning. Check out the guild, check out milkywayphotographers.com, and I'll see you guys next 2-minute tip.
There's a lot of tracking mounts out there, and the Move Shoot Move is a very cheap and very small one, and you get what you pay for. And I think
looks like I'm done talking to you, so I guess you got to come back and join me in the fun. So here we go. I'm just working on getting this one more Teresa Rice photo. I pulled in the first 4. I didn't have tons of time to pull in everybody, but I'm going to pull them in. And so let me save this to photos, and let me go to the chat so I can make an edit on these photos, because I realized I made one mistake of pulling in the full frame on some of these. I just want to edit out their edges. So, wait, what? What's going on here? Where's the crop? Ah, here we go. So I'm pulling in Stephen Guillemont. He is missing out on our workshop fun coming up, so I pulled in 3 of his. But on the other ones, I pulled in 2 of theirs, and I'm going to feature some different scenes, which is some interesting setup, especially the one of them that Rhonda did. I really liked that, and you'll see what I mean here in a moment. And what else did I forget? Okay, yep, that one and Rhonda's. So I'm just doing some edits in the background. So when you're thinking about this coming season, I'm imagining everyone's having some of the same challenge of finding the budget for a big photo trip. What are you guys all doing that is going to give you that chance to have that photo trip? Has anyone got any plans already in place, and you know where you're going? And how far are you going, where, and what's your goal? Because one of the things I want to talk about next time is looking at all the different executions that you can pull off in Milky Way photography. I've been talking about that a little bit with my clients on Zoom. And so, Chris Whiting, John Deal, those are the only other ones that have been thrown my way, so I might as well go ahead and pull those over real quick while everyone in the chat answers those questions. Chris Whiting says, I do have an Orion image that I got more data than I thought possible from a non-modded camera. It was a dark, dark sky and 2 hours. So 2 hours long exposure? Are you saying that you actually left it open for 2 hours flat? Or was it a time lapse that led to this 2 hours? Is that what happened? I'm curious about that. Heading to Sedona, John says, Arizona in November, Oregon coast with me. So you have nothing soon then. Really, your first one will be Oregon coast with me in August. Okay. And Teresa Rice staying close to home. I'm sure budget is reason for all of us not being able to go. Let me go ahead and do John Deal photography. And, oh, interesting. Definitely a lot. Oh, I was there for that one. I'm pretty sure that house on fire ruin. I think I was there. So I'm going back in time, but I think what I'll do is I'll take John's house on fire. And since you don't have double Milky Ways recently, John, I'm just going to grab one. So forgive me for only taking one of your photos for sake of time, and because I'm just going to feature one that matches up with locations that I've been, especially with you and other workshops. Let's see. And the other one was Chris. And I don't think I've missed anyone else, but if I have, write it again if you don't see it here by the end. And where was it? It was Whiting Chris first. Yeah, that's what it was. And oh. Interesting. Okay, I need you to explain a little bit of this one. And I'm going to try and find it, but I don't think you wrote anything in your Instagram post. I'll find out here in a sec when I'm done piecing it together. But, goodness, what is that? And I do love this. And I don't think that's the same one. I think that's a different one. Yeah, for sure that's a different one. But where is that different one? A skinny hoodoo mushroom. And that was just 4 days ago. That's awesome. At least saving the photo here. Okay. All right. My work here is mostly done. I just need to do some things where I pull in your photos. And I think that would be fun to do with all of you involved. All right. So first things first is I need to duplicate a bunch of black backgrounds, gray backgrounds, and let's pull in some photos. So let's pull in some photos, starting with, that was John's. Here we go, starting with Teresa. So she went to Anza Borrego and had a classic moment with the structures. And, oh, that's neat. I mean, it's interesting. When you plan the composition, had you had the Milky Way in position more on the frame and not coming off of the edge of the frame? Or is it just Instagram cropping off something? Is that just what happened? Is Instagram? Oh, yeah, Cave. I got to include Cave on here. Cool. So, all my money went to the Kanab house. Chris, I'm surprised you're able to even get another house right now. So well done on that. That will be the photo destination, though. Been scouting around the area. Yeah, you definitely have a lot of cool things coming there. And John has his first grandchild due in May, so no travel plans for the future. Family's more priority than the travel anyway, so you're making the right choice. But I like this shot coming from Teresa. It's a recent photo. Oh, I cropped everything off. So you must not have had any other information on there. But I like how the sky has the edit. The edit is solid. There's really good clarity on the core. And the only thing I wish is that I had some more space on the right of it, but I'm assuming Instagram cropped that for you. And that's just the biggest problem is it happened there. So that's awesome. Teresa, I won't even draw on it. So then let's go ahead and move in and grab a very interesting trio from Steve. One where it's just going to make me jealous because he apparently did not get clouded out for the lunar eclipse last week. Or was it fully 2 weeks ago now? But here's some of his examples of, he said, focusing on deep sky. So let's look into this one first. Oh, wait, I have not gotten it to stop. This drives me freaking nuts. Stupid app. I've got to talk to them. So here is his awesome lunar eclipse. Now, it's awesome because it happened. And I love these kind of eclipse setups where you have the different timing all in one frame, showing how it changed, how it even went to a darker moon, and then finally, once it's fully covered and you get that full eclipse, you get color back from what was an eclipsed in shadow moon. And it's an interesting phenomenon that we get this earth glow bounce light that goes back onto the moon that is lighting it in this situation. So fantastic fortune there. And that didn't mean to draw on yours. I just want to move, please. I want to zoom in on the Rosette Nebula. So let's read what he wrote about this and how he pulled it off. So this, he says, the Rosette Nebula images from Shenandoah National Park, so nice and dark. 1 hour, 16 minutes integration time. So what do you mean by that? So you had 1 hour, but there's 16 minutes integration. Are you saying that you had a 16-minute shutter and took multiple pictures until an hour was expired? Or are you saying that arc minutes in the sky on degrees? I don't get the phrase 16 minutes of integration time. So please explain that in the chat when you can, Steve. And looking at this, he uses Fujifilm X-T3, which is brilliantly cool, using a camera that none of you are also using, and pulled off this fantastic capture of the Rosette Nebula. So 2-minute exposures, he says. Okay, that's much different. So 1 hour, maybe he's trying to say 1 hour and 16 minutes of 2-minute exposures each. Like it took you 1 hour and 16 minutes, so 76 minutes of time with 2-minute exposures in between to get all of these shots. So, I mean, how many is that? About 40-something, 47 captures in order to get it. If it was 2 every minute, 2 minutes, and then keep repeating. Either way, the Rosette Nebula is so bright and so vibrant, and he did not overexpose it. He has detail that's popping on this really gnarly, just the way the dust clouds are overlapping in this little star nursery. It has great texture and great visibility. The color that you chose, I think you probably went with the Hubble color scheme. It's terrific. It's not too much of anything. I really like it. And he says yes. And then sounds good, Chris. Something up there was being said, so not to me. And then I just want to feature everyone. When you're focusing on Orion, what you're going to see in Orion is a very bright subject that goes out of exposure fast. You'll blow it out quickly. For instance, if I go back to Colin's image, you can see that this is the Orion Nebula right there. It's very obvious in the telescope. And the first time I saw it with a telescope back in 2014, I was like, oh, man. Is there a smudge on my lens? What's going on? And it was just so fascinating. I wasn't expecting to have anything of interest that stood out like that. And on my black and white view of it through the eyepiece of the telescope, I was stoked to see something so visible that I had not really known about before. And I loved it. And what is showing up here, very bright and kind of fuzzy, is exactly this gorgeous, gorgeous color. Like it's opened up a clam on the inside of the shell. You have all the patina, and it's just brilliantly cool looking. And he did not do anything to ruin the coolness of it. And it'll be hard someday if I ever actually, like, I used to have a dream of a dream home. It's like, oh, I can't wait to have my dream home. It'll be awesome. Now I just have a dream that I might one day have a home. And that'll be great. And I can actually live in a house where I could put things on the walls. Like, to hang those up, I had these two, like, quick release plates that have hooks. And I'm hanging the whole thing up together in a checkerboard of zip ties that are holding it all together as a mesh. And then dangling off of two hooks that may or may not give up the ghost one of these days during a live stream. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen. If you're curious what I was pointing at, I might as well go like this. Up there. Oh, by the way, American King. You can't see it in great detail right now, but those. Shunga, yunga, 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 yunga. All right, so let's go back to cool pictures. So let's go ahead and bring in another set. And after that is... Oh, yeah, I had two images of Rhonda's because she had a very interesting situation, and it turned out pretty dang well for that situation. So let's feature these good and big and check these out one at a time. All right, let's go into a drawing mode. And, you know, I blocked being able to read this. So this is from Rhonda Pierce, liked by Shelby Diamond Star, which is Mary Beth Kaczynski. Upon a mesa in northeast New Mexico, the moon danced with the clouds, at times illuminating the landscape and letting the milky... I couldn't go into the more and save that. But this is a cool picture. Even though you have clouds, she still captured the photo. How many times has Aaron King taken a photo with clouds? Very few times. I've been to places where there are clouds, and then I'm like, well, I'm going to go get some food. I am, guess, a coward, a wimp, a simpleton. I give up, and I'm like, you know what, clouds, I'm going to do a time lapse and call it. And, you know, the only way I save images from a cloudy situation is with a time lapse, and through that time lapse, I'll get that one moment. And here it is, like, featuring it as part of the composition. I love that she's celebrating what is usually the curtain drawing over the crowd, of like blocking the crowd from the stage play. The curtain's out, we can't see anything, there's nothing to enjoy. But Rhonda's not treating the clouds like a curtain, she's treating them like a feature, and I love that. I have the clouds kind of cradling the core right there, you know how it comes in like this and cradles it. I like it, and it's something that I don't take time to appreciate, because to me the clouds are an enemy like the moon. And so here is a fantastic capture while she's on a plane. She's in flight. She's not the captain where she can put something up really well. She's hand holding this at ISO 32,000, taken from an Alaska Airlines Boeing 7. Okay, well, even information about the plane. Somewhere over mid-Kansas. And so Kansas, you feel like you got a lot of light pollution maybe to fight around in certain places. Get in the plane. Get in this plane and get above it. Get above all that light pollution. And you can see how this is a winter, towards the winter, you know, fall, September, late night, summer, vertical Milky Way that is visible right there. Oh, you know, I haven't moved this over enough because of my chat. So let me do something. Like, I usually can zoom in even more. Okay, there we go. That's featuring it a little bit better around the chat screen. And you can see how even handheld, she does not have a crappy line on the stars. Every city light, you can see the motion of the plane. It's like this is the plane's motion. But this is mystifying to me. If she had moved her camera, every light, point of light, would have the same line, kind of like all of these do. But the closer lights at the plane's motion, we get a longer line drawn closer to us and smaller lines drawn back there. And in the more distant, incredibly distant, cosmically distant lights up here, they do get the same motion from the plane, but they're not streaks. And so that tells me, that guy who had that time lapse on a barge as he was driving it through the trading lanes, the lanes of commerce, basically out in the ocean. He had a big old ship that had a bunch of shipping containers on a shipping container ship, and the time lapse looked great. And you wonder, why isn't there, since the ship is moving, a bunch of motion in the lights and the stars? This proves it right here. My theory on it is now proven, as it's just the more distant light is getting the same motion, but because it's so far away, the motion is like the end of this pen. If I go into it, let's do here. The end of this pen towards you, if I anchor it and I move this part, this pen at my finger doesn't move all that much, but the top one moves a lot, closer to my eyes. So as I'm moving past this point, I can see basically a smudge happening on my finger where that pen is rolling, but there's a massive like smiley face being drawn by the tip pointing towards me. So if I point this towards you and do what I was doing, so here's the anchored part, and I draw the smiley face. The tip of the pen at the bottom is moving a lot more distance, where the one in the distance is moving. So if you just kind of move past this, both of them are moving pretty well with the parallaxing of that kind of distance and that kind of speed. But cosmically far away stars, they can look like this and be pretty solidly pinpoint, pretty clear looking stars and not lines. So why is that significant to me? Because someday, I tell you what, and not the International Space Station, but something like it, something out there on top of our world, outside of our atmosphere, outside maybe, not on the moon or Mars necessarily, because that's just like being on Earth, but I could actually capture the Milky Way from even something that's an orbiting station, and that's cool to know. All right, I'll stop celebrating this. Great job, Rhonda. That's really cool to see how that works with the lights and everything in the plane movement. Really, these get the worst of it, and those up there are doing fantastic. I really should have swapped places with these. Okay, let's continue on and celebrate some more of what you all have been doing. And after Rhonda's, I have one. Yep, I think it's only one. Oh, this is another one from Teresa Rice. I thought I got two from Teresa. All right, here we go. I didn't get a chance to talk about Teresa's last photo, so let's read this one. I'll bring that up so I can have a little draw, because I really like this. This is en route 89 in northern Arizona. Didn't realize that the Milky Way was visible until I looked at the back of the camera. Still not sure what the lights in the valley are. Interesting, huh? I mean, the way that these long lines look, road, airplane landing strip, I don't know. But it's not like this is what an airplane landing strip would do. It'd have like all of these lights would make sense, but then it wouldn't need to have these randomly at different, amounts and densities out in the distance. So I'm assuming fracking. I'm assuming they're fracking operations, and that this is just the different drills, and they all have their little light underneath the drill, causing the fracking drill to have some protection, I guess, which I hate that. Really wish they'd turn them off. Chris Whiting said something earlier that I want to talk about. Oh, Rhonda. Let's emphasize what Rhonda said. She said, Mary Beth was with me when I took that picture of the moon was setting to my back. Oh, that was the cloudy picture I think she talked about. And then Kathy says, nothing planned yet for the rest of the year. Recovering from 3 weeks in Brazil around Christmas. I'll definitely do at least a week in Utah, probably in fall. Okay, cool. Yeah, I can understand why you'd be recovering from all of that. That's probably some awesome time and, honestly, some expenditures. And Rhonda continues, my lens is pressed against the glass of the window of the plane and with a black jacket over the camera. She's hand-holding it, pressing against the plane. And, planes aren't, like, totally still. They're vibrating a little bit. And so that was pretty awesome that you kept your camera motionless. In fact, you may have moved it a little bit, and that caused all the lights to move. But I don't know. I guess got to be wrong, because if you moved your camera, even the stars would have those lines. So I'm wrong on that. Chris Whiting says the linear motion of the plane is almost nothing compared to the stars, where the ground is moving under the plane. Yeah, it's exactly right. Like the distance of the stars to the plane and its linear path is just like no movement at all, practically. Kind of like how we're on the Earth and it's orbiting and rotating. It's not that much movement either, as you can see, unless you have a star tracker. It does cause some trailing eventually. And I answered all the questions. Okay, cool. I got all the comments in. So I'm thinking, Teresa, that these are fracking dikes, but that's my guess. All right, let's add another one on here. And we've got these both. No, just one, because those ones Stephen Garamont. No, who was that? That's Chris. Okay, so here we go. We've got John Deal's House on Fire Ruin, and I'm celebrating this because I was there. I'm just being selfish because I like it, and it was there. It's not a Milky Way, but here's an 800-year-old Anasazi dwelling. An easy hike of a canyon wash finds you in the most beautiful canyon area, wide canyon area. I'm not sure what else he says, but were you there, John, when it was crazy muddy? Were you with me in that group, or was it a different group? We had one where the place was so muddy from a recent rain that night before, I guess, that it was a nightmare. We kept sliding all over the place. It was nuts. I'm pretty sure you were there, because I'm certain that Anna and no. Oh, I'm so sorry. I remembered Anne's name. Anne and my tiredness and on live streamness has caused me to not say Susan's name. Susan. I'm sure Susan and Anne were with us during this one. And yeah, you were there. Yes, muddy, he says. Yep, he was there on the most very fun one where we almost did the splits a few times. And let's go into another photo, and I might have an opportunity to pull in Cave's next. I'm pretty sure both of these are from Chris Whiting, and I am correct. I'm going to swap these, knowing where the chat box is. And let's celebrate this, because I have some questions. It's clear to me now what that is. I'm finally seeing it. My question is gone. So I was curious what this was on the left, but it's just a different angle Barnard's Loop, and the two eyes of the smiley face. They include Orion's Nebula on the right there, and over here, Horsehead Nebula and Witch's Head. Right there is the little horse. Let me get a better pen for that. So we have the head of a horse. Oh, that's not what a horse looks like. It looks like an emu. Head of a horse. Yeah, that's closer. That's closer to the head of a horse. I'm just kind of picturing a chess piece in my head when I was starting to draw that. So that's roughly the horse head nebula right there. You can see it sticking up. And Witch's Head on the left of that. So we're looking at Orion. This is just an interesting capture. There's something about it where you basically accented all the dust lanes. All the darker grays of dust lanes are popping, and the texture almost looks like it's a low-res image, or it looks like it is a image taken on print. There's something about it to me that's different than what people's normal edits, or makes everything look like they're lasers up there. And so that's interesting. I like it a lot. And John remembered for me. He's like, Susan, it's Susan. I'm like, yeah. I'm sorry, Susan, when you watch this and you realize I remembered Anne's name and not your name first, you're going to slap me, and I deserve it. That is a cool shot, Chris. It's something that people don't often take like this, where it's got like the smiley face of Barnard's Loop to feature both of those nebulas. I like it. And here is a very skinny chin, like a toadstool hoodoo, but it's not the toadstool hoodoo, and it's not one that is a Goblin Valley or Mexican Hat. What is this? Where is this? It says nothing here except you'll be back soon when you're not solo, as I saw a large mountain lion tracks close by. Yeah, I'm always thinking about that. Holy goodness. Now you say composite. Like, is this really a composite? Have you actually pasted in the Milky Way? Am I featuring a Milky Way that's fake? Should I be cutting this? Should I delete this part of the video? What is it that's composited? What did you composite? And while you answer that question, I'm going to pull up some more photos because I think I I pulled in all the ones that had been already taken. So let's go over to Cave's. Cave. Whoa, what is this? What is this? Oh, it's AI. Oh, I was like, Cave, where were you cosplaying as? And where were you doing cosplay? And what were you cosplaying as? Like a hot Christopher Columbus? But now that's awesome. This is what Cave would look like with a little bit more money. His gold looks like a chalice. That's awesome. I mean, maybe I'm wrong by saying it's AI because that's definitely Cave's face. It did a great job. Man, if only I had my hair back. I want some hair like that. That's awesome. Okay, I'm going to feature this one because Kathy, Rhonda, and I all know that spot. And Ron, the Muraki. I was wearing that hoodie again. And, Kathy, you saved me mostly from getting those balls on the hoodie by getting it inside out. But there's something about that hoodie's structure that I just don't like. The way that the cuffs are, if I wear it and I use it on a computer, the cuffs are terrible, and they always fold over. It's really obnoxious. But it's my Muraki one. And Moraki. I forgot how they pronounced it, but it's a place in New Zealand. And gorgeous. We had an okay. I mean, at the time it felt like we got skunked for the sunrise, but we didn't really. I was just being picky. So, Kaihinaki are unusually large spherical boulders lying along a stretch of koke. I forgot the rest of that. But it's a really gorgeous shot. And seeing the water still on the inside of that, it's really cool. And we ended up getting colors that didn't pop inside the water as much as we wanted. The clouds were higher up than we were hoping they were on the horizon. I think that's where we got a little picky, but it turned out really cool. Yes, here's what Chris Whiting says. Let's move Cave's image off to the side so that I can fully see his admission of guilt. Hopefully not too much guilt, because I love Chris. Yes, he says. Composited. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. You don't see all of that. There we go. Composited in the Milky Way, but in the exact position the photo was taken in the morning daylight. He put a drop in Milky Way. Okay. That is more easily forgiven than a composite where the Milky Way doesn't belong there. So that's good news. It just turns out that it wasn't the conditions of that night, and it wasn't the conditions that he had when he shot that shot. It was in morning light afterwards. It's almost blue hour. That's why we're getting some extra highlights on top of the rock. But yeah, drop in Milky Way is far more forgivable, and so you're still on. We're still good. Cave smiles and laughs. I think it's because he's enjoying my Christopher Columbus hottie shot that he was sharing. My tavern brought hoodies. Oh, my tavern bought hoodie from there. It's still great. Oh, her tavern bought hoodie. She got her tavern at a tavern. She bought a hoodie, and that one's doing still great. Wearing it now. Oh, wearing it now even, in fact. Awesome. Mine's over there in the pile. There's the yellow hoodie. It's still great. I'm still wearing it, but it's just annoying. That's why it's a recon shot. Oh, I see. Recon for when you finally take it. And that's probably an area off of your Kanab house that you'll be able to get to easily, right? And you can retake that. And Ron says, Cave, you didn't buy that restaurant and move to New Zealand yet. We want our eggs and toast, man. That eggs and toast is the best. I have not had scrambled eggs since that time and not thought about how good their scrambled eggs were. It was so wonderful. So how are we sitting on time? 1 minute. I even thought about it before it was 8. I'm getting better. Now with Cave's, I think was the last one that was specifically written in the chat. And so I think I'm fair to not be mean to any one person for not including them. Yeah, I think we're good. Okay. So like I said, I want to get into, not yet, haven't decided yet. Oh man. Okay. So how this year's going to go? I'm going to end this on this, and those of you who are here for the hour, you can hang out and say, see you, Aaron, see you next time after these next few sentences. I'll be back not next Wednesday, but the Wednesday afterwards. So that's the first Wednesday in April, I'll be gone. But the second Wednesday in April, I'll be back. So that should be 2 Wednesdays from now. I'll be back live. And I'm going to talk about the types of exposures you get, from single image to stacked to tracked to time lapse to dual exposures to dual exposure panorama to panorama. I'm just going to talk about them in general, and I'm going to pull in examples and show what went well and what didn't go well in the examples. And I'm going to pull them off of Google. I'm just going to go out there and find them. They could end up being yours, very likely, or just someone else's we've never met. And I won't pick any one that I think has gone a little too far on their art, but we'll see some examples of it. And so that I can share examples of that kind of photography, and I will be harshly critical of these images so that you can get ideas of things to not do in your versions of this, as well as get an idea of how each one of them are done. For instance, let me show you what I mean. So like, I was teaching about this right here. So you can see how, oh yeah, you're not watching this yet. Boom. So let me turn off the checks. I got to fix that on this window, and I'm going to turn off the gray background. So you can see how when you do for instance, a dual exposure blend or a blue hour blend, it's the same scenario, you have a sky that is darker than your foreground, and you got to blend them together. So I'm going to talk about those kind of things and which one you go with. Which direction should you choose, and why one way sometimes, another way other times. And I'll be giving those examples and talking about them. And this is roughly the list of single image with low level lighting, time lapses, stacking for focus or stacking for noise. They're two different things that you capture. Dual exposure, this DE right here, you can see it covers dual exposures where you just need it like for a panorama or a long exposure to the foreground. Blue hour blends, they're dual exposures. And star trackers are dual exposures because you capture the sky with the thing tracking, it's capture the foreground without it tracking, and usually a longer exposure to see your foreground. So we'll talk about all of those in 2 weeks. All right, so that is what you need to know before you need to take off and enjoy the rest of your night. Those of you still here with me,